What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. This is going to be my first gun review, so bear with me through the hiccups. I figured I'd start today by showing you guys my everyday carry, my EDC, and why I chose a Glock 29 Gen 5 in 10mm. This particular gun I bought brand new, paid, I don't know, a little under $600 for this guy, and I run this thing completely stock. That is, in my opinion, the way a Glock should be run. Now, aside from the sights, I went with some Ameriglow ghost ring sights. We'll talk about that here later. And then I did add a pinky extension to the magazine, as well as just a piece of grip tape. But aside from that, this gun is completely stock. You know, all the internals and everything, nothing has been changed. And again, I think that that's the way a Glock should be run for most people, because that's the way they're designed, and they're not going to break until you start putting all kinds of fancy stuff inside them. So anyways, you know, the reason why I chose a Glock 29, you know, for those of you who don't already know what the gun is like, this is Glock's subcompact 10mm, which 10mm is a very powerful round for a semi-automatic handgun. It's really about the most powerful you can get in a, you know, common caliber that is fairly easy to find. And guys, 10mm is definitely making a comeback nowadays. So this particular gun holds 10+1 of 10mm, which, you know, is not just a little bit more powerful than 9mm. And we're probably starting to talk about getting into 357 Magnum territory, you know, depending on the load, maybe even a little bit hotter than that. Some people say even up to 41 Magnum. You know, I'm not a ballistics expert, but I do know that it's a lot more powerful than 9mm. So the reasons why I chose this gun, I live in western Pennsylvania, very rural area, about an hour and a half from Pittsburgh, and I live, you know, 15 minutes from the nearest town, which is just a very small town. So I live out in the middle of nowhere. And, you know, we go to town quite often still, and I still like to concealed carry. But obviously, you know, I am out in the woods a lot, whether it be just walking around our property, or out hunting, fishing, hiking, you know, whatever. This gun spends a lot of time with me in the woods. We'll put it that way. And, you know, the main reason that we concealed carry is for two-legged predators. I mean, that's the main reason why people would conceal carry. I think that if you were to ask 99% of people, that's why they carry, is to protect themselves from bad human beings. But, you know, out here in the woods, we also have four-legged predators. Now, I'm not so worried about bear attacks here in Pennsylvania. Now, we do have a lot of black bears, and there are some very, very big black bears in Pennsylvania, for those of you who aren't aware. But, you know, we're not in Alaska, we're not in Montana, we're not in Wyoming, we're not, you know, worried about grizzly bears, Kodiak brown bears, or anything like that. So I found that the 10mm, I think, is plenty adequate, in my opinion, for the odds that you would actually have to use it to defend yourself against a black bear. So I like the 10mm. Now, the reason I went with the Glock 29 is, again, because of such a small package. This Glock is roughly the same size as a Glock 19. Now, actually, the Glock 19, this is my special edition Cerakote Glock 19. As you can see, the magazine is actually shorter, as well as the slide in the barrel, just by a tad, on the Glock 29. Now, that's with the pinky extension. When we take a look at the flush fit mag, which comes with the Glock 29. This comes with 3 of these flush fit magazines. I got 2 pinky extensions and put them on the other 2 magazines. And this magazine is what I would run if I were, out in town, whatever, and wearing just a t-shirt, something that's not as easy to conceal under. This is the magazine I would use. Now, you're only going to get 2 fingers on this Glock, but I've found that, that's honestly enough, and, you can kind of wrap the 3rd pinky down there around the bottom to give you a little bit more real estate. So this gun, the 29, now with the flush fit magazine, as you can see, is significantly shorter than the Glock 19. And I mean, guys carry Glock 19s all the time. I mean, that's probably the most popular handgun in the world, and for good reason. And I will carry that from time to time as well. But what I like about the 29 is I have one gun for the woods and one gun for town. I can concealed carry this. I can put the magazine with the pinky extension. I can put in the another magazine with a pinky extension with underwood hard cast loads for bear protection when I'm out fishing and for brook trout, whatever. I can even go with the Glock 20 15 round magazines, and that will fit in here as well. Now it'll stick out a little bit at the end, and they do make grips that you can get to cover that little gap that magazine will have there, but I haven't purchased one of those yet. So how I carry this, if I'm trying to conceal carry, 9 times out of 10 I'm going to carry it in this Vetter light tuck holster. Okay, and this is just a simple inside the waistband holster, very well made. But I'll usually carry that at about 3 or 4 o'clock on my hip inside the waistband. If I am walking out around the property, out fishing, whatever, there's a good chance I might just carry this Blackhawk Serpa. And I've found nothing wrong with this. I know some guys will complain about that, but they're worried about the trigger guard or the button being close to the trigger finger. Guys, just practice with it, and I don't think it's really an issue. But back to the gun, I'll usually carry that in this paddle holster whenever I'm just walking around the house, or going on a walk, or fishing, hunting, whatever, because it is pretty easily accessible that way. Now in the summertime, this summer it's been very hot in Pennsylvania, and really in the summertime is probably when you're going to be dealing with bears the most. We go for a walk on the road a lot. We just had a baby, and I've found that the best way to carry with gym shorts, because I like to wear gym shorts, and I don't always want to wear cargo shorts or khakis or whatever. I like to just wear athletic clothes. So I'm wearing gym shorts, and I will carry this Glock 29 in this, it's just a cheap LA police gear, I think, is who makes this fanny pack. Concealed carry fanny pack. As you can see, it has a holster there, so it covers the trigger guard, and this Glock fits in there perfectly. Now, the one thing about this is, like I showed you the size, this is, about the same size as a 19, except, it is a lot thicker, a decent amount thicker than the Glock 19. And the big thing is, it's heavy, okay? This thing is a little bit heavier than a Glock 19. And so when I'm carrying it in that fanny pack, I have found that the only issue is it gets pretty heavy after a mile or 2. That's usually about how far we'll go for a walk on the road. And this works in there just fine, but I wouldn't want to go too much further than 2 miles with that thing on my hip in the fanny pack. But it works. It serves the purpose. And guys, this is just a $20 fanny pack. So honestly, if you went out and bought a good fanny pack, I bet you that it would work a lot better. So yeah, that's kind of why I like the Glock 29. It's not only going to protect me from two-legged predators, which is, again, really the reason why everybody concealed carries. but it's also going to protect me from four-legged predators, or at least it's going to make me feel like I'm protected from four-legged predators. So that's sort of why I chose it. Just, some more specifics. Again, I went with these AmeriGlow ghost ring sights, and these are night sights. Everybody knows the one bad thing about Glocks is the sights. On the OEM sights, they're plastic. They work. I've never had them actually fail on me. They're just not real precise. They don't look great. They're plastic. So, that's usually one of the things that people will upgrade is the sights. And I went with these ghost ring sights. I wanted to try something different, and I love them. They're very easy target acquisition, very fast. They may not be quite as precise as standard sights. I'm not really sure. I've heard that, but I have not really seen that much difference. When I'm out target shooting, these sights tend to do just fine for as well as I can shoot. I thought about going with a red dot on this, but obviously, as you can see, this is not an MOS version. I would have had to send it out to get optic cut, and I just didn't really want to. But honestly, I'm glad that I didn't, because my eye does not do well with red dots for whatever reason on handguns. And, I like these night sights much better. Aside from that, if you are somebody who hunts and fishes all the time like I do, you know as well as I do that this gun is going to get dirty. It is going to get stuff on it, okay? There's really no way around it. And that's, honestly, another reason why I chose the Glock. I used to carry a Smith & Wesson Model 19-2 that was made in the 1960s, and a beautiful gun, and a great, it's 357, plenty of firepower, but, I felt bad every time that I would get that gun dirty or, put a little scratch on the handle or anything like that. With the Glock, to be honest, I really don't care what it looks like. Obviously, I'm not purposely trashing the gun, but I really don't care what it looks like. I don't need to clean it all the time. It's just gonna work. It's really a workhorse. It's kind of a beater that you can go ahead and rely on regardless of how you treat it. Now, obviously, again, don't beat it up. Take care of it. Do your regular maintenance and whatnot. But I mean, back to the point of the red dot. Why I don't want to walk around with a red dot in the woods, number one is no matter what kind of glass I've found, it fogs up. When I'm going inside, outside, whatever, they fog up all the time. And I don't want to be dealing with an emergency situation, go to look through my red dot and it's fogged up. Not only that, but again, it's going to get water on it. It's going to get dirt and debris down in there. And it's just, in my opinion, not how I want to run my gun in the woods. I was walking through a trout stream about a month or two ago, and I fell down. And literally this Glock fell in the creek with me. It was fully submerged, and I took it home, took it all apart, cleaned it real good. There was literally sand in it and dirt, and it works fine. It had, if you were to look at this gun today, you probably would never know that I dropped it in a creek about a month ago. But the gun, that's why I carry a Glock, and that's why I don't want a red dot on it, is because it's going to get beat up. And if there was a red dot on it that day, fully submerging a red dot in water, whether they can handle it or not, sure, doesn't mean that I want it to do that. So I digress. That's enough about the optics and the back to the main reason again why I carry this Glock 29, and then we'll kind of finish up, is I feel like I have plenty of firepower, whether it be for two-legged critters, four-legged critters, what have you, and I don't need to carry a 9mm and a 44 Magnum in the woods. And I can really just choose one gun for all of my uses, or at least most of them. And, you know, I love the 10 millimeter, and this is another 10 millimeter that I own, a Glock 20. This is actually the first Glock that I ever bought, Glock 20 Gen 4. And this is my bedside gun, and you can see I got the Streamlight TLR1 on it. I've got night sights on this one, but these are just regular Ameriglo cap sights. These two pair very well together. This is my home defense gun. This is my EDC, and they, you know, this takes these magazines, all that kind of good stuff. So it really makes for a pretty good system. I used to carry this in the woods all the time, and I still do on a very consistent basis. But to be honest, this one's so much lighter, and just makes a lot more sense because, you know, I've found that carrying this can sometimes be a bit overkill, and the little guy is certainly much more comfortable to carry. But, you know, 10 millimeters making a comeback, like I said, guys. So get out there, go get yourself a 10 millimeter, go shoot one at a range, see if a buddy has one. They don't kick that bad, to be honest. I mean, people were always worried about recoil, and sure, they kick a lot more than a 9 millimeter. But I honestly, I have shot snappier small micro 9s than this one right here. I mean, this gun is pretty soft shooting in the right circumstances. So that's it, guys. That's why I choose the 10 millimeter. That's why I choose the Glock 29 here in Western Pennsylvania. I think if you're a guy that lives in Appalachia like I do, or if you live even out west, you know, I mean, I think it's a very, very wise choice to go with that, you know, much firepower in a small package. Again, you can carry it in town, you can carry it in the woods. It'll cover both, and it'll do well in both situations. Now, is 10 rounds enough for EDC, you know, in town, in the city? Well, you know, you tell me. That's up to everybody. Personally, I would like to have more, but you got to also, you know, again, consider it's 10 millimeter. That's, you know, a lot more powerful than 9 millimeter, so you may not need as much ammo. But, you know, 10 plus 1 is sufficient, and I think that would be a very good choice, even if it was just an urban carry. The Glock 29, you know, wouldn't be my first choice in urban carry, but I think it'd still be a very good choice in urban carry. But again, if you're a guy like me that lives out in the middle of nowhere, and you're looking for an everyday carry gun, and you just want one that you can rely on, I don't think you can go wrong with the Glock 29. All right, guys, that's it. Hope you enjoyed this review. Thanks for sitting with me through the whole thing. I know it was probably rough for some of you, but yeah, we'll try this again.